This is the AHSAA Weekly. I'm John Holder. This is your weekly inside look at everything going on with the Alabama High School Athletic Association. Coming up on this week's program, we're going to go to Montgomery and speak with Steve Savarese, Executive Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. He'll talk about the newest inductees into the Alabama High School Sports Hall of Fame. It is playoff time continuing in high school football. We'll talk with three of the coaches whose teams are moving on to the quarterfinals of the football playoffs. Jamie Debose, head coach of the Central Phoenix City Red Devils. We'll also talk with Michael Williams, head coach of the Pickens County Tornadoes, and Ruben Nelson, head coach of the Ramsey Rams out of Birmingham. Also coming up on this week's show, Marvin Show is going to talk about the state swimming and diving championships. The sectionals are coming up and the state championship meet coming up in a couple of weeks. Also, we're going to have an official segment. We'll take you inside the locker room as officials get ready to call the game last week in the second round of the football playoffs between Central of Clay County and Jasper. And speaking of Central of Clay County and Jasper, we will also have our WOTM plays of the week from not only that game, but also the Geraldine and BB Comer game. All of that coming up on this week's edition of the AHSAA Weekly.
Don't crack under the pressure of foundation issues. The certified specialists at Ox Foundation Solutions can permanently fix foundation problems at the best price guaranteed. And did you know, moisture and unsafe air from your crawl space can infiltrate your home, causing health hazards and high utility bills. Ox Foundation Solutions has the best plan to keep your home safe. If you are experiencing any issues with your sidewalks, basement, crawl space, or foundation, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
WOTM, your new home for high school sports in Alabama. The road to Jordan-Hare goes through WOTM every Friday night with live playoff coverage. Tune in to WOTM this Friday with the Class 7A South semifinal. Auburn traveling to Phoenix City to take on the defending state champion Central Red Devils. The broadcast will also feature live in-game highlights and updates from the 7A North semifinal featuring the Hoover Bucks and the Thompson Warriors. Stay with WOTM December 4th through 6th for exclusive TV coverage of the Super 7 live from Jordan-Hare.
Back on AHSAA Weekly, and we're joined with Coach Steve Savarese this morning from the Montgomery offices. Coach Savarese, how you doing?
Doing great, Michael. How are you today?
I'm doing well. We had a very exciting round two. We had a WOTM rematch. Our game of the week for round two was Clay Central visiting Jasper earlier in the season, a double overtime victory for Jasper at Clay Central, but Clay Central gets their revenge. They go to Jasper and win 20-7. But Coach, like you mentioned in 6A, we have three 4 seeds still remaining, including a matchup between two of them, Park Crossing and Spanish Fort. We're going to have a 4 seed in the semifinals of 6A. Coach, that's pretty crazy.
Well, Michael, you sound just like Ron Ingram. You guys have all your facts right. That's exactly right. I saw Park Crossing play last night against Stanhope Elmore. A great football game, very close. Came down really to the kicking game. And both teams very well, but I think the Spanish Fort Park Crossing matchup could be an outstanding game in Spanish Fort. And don't let the records of either team fool you, because either one of those teams could be playing in Auburn in a few weeks.
Park Crossing, the Cinderella story, but also we have semifinals coming up with 7A. We have two huge marquee matchups, Hoover taking on Thompson, and our upcoming game of the week, Auburn, Central Phoenix City. Coach, what do you think about these matchups?
Well, I just wish I could be at both places. You know, it's going to be great games in both communities this week. Auburn with a surprising win over McGill-Toolen. You know, McGill-Toolen was the #1 ranked team in the state, and there was no question who the better team was. Auburn won the game in less than 2 hours, ran the ball very well, very successful, and we congratulate that team. Adam and his whole crew did a great job, and that's going to be a great matchup with Phoenix City. It really will. And then to Hoover-Thompson, you know, back to the semifinals again. And I know that'll be an unbelievable game at Thompson. You better get there early just to get a seat. It'll be a great setting for high school football in those two communities.
Well, Coach, you won't have to worry about missing one game because our next upcoming WOTM game of the week will be Auburn and Central Phoenix City, so you'll be able to catch that one too, Coach. But I hear we have some other news coming from the Hall of Fame, the Alabama High School Sports Hall of Fame, announcing some new inductees March the 16th, 2020.
And it's my privilege to introduce the 30th class of the Alabama High School Sports Hall of Fame. First, our administrator, Luke Hallmark from Marengo County, superintendent, longtime board member, coach, and an official. Just an awesome person. Football coaches Carol Cox, Steve Mask, and Fred Yancey, all of them icons in our state. Basketball coaches Tommy Lewis and Yvonne Simmons. Tommy Lewis at Spring Garden, Yvonne Simmons at Carver, just unbelievable records, but more importantly, unbelievable impact. The track coaches, two of our best we've ever had in our state, Aaron Good and Keith Wyman. And Keith Wyman's son is now the track coach and at Falkville, and he's doing an awesome job. Aaron Good from Hazelwood, state championship after state championship. Honoring our officials this year will be Tony Pugh, longtime wrestling official. Well, what's so great about Tony, he was a longtime wrestling coach. And then after he retired, now has been an official and done an outstanding job. And in our old-timer, I don't like to really call them old-timer division, but I call them the iconic division, is Coach Hampline, Samuel Hampline from Alexander City. The former stadium was named after Coach Line. Military veteran coach, he was Alexander City for so many years. So soccer coach Rick Grammer from Vestavia, our all-time winningest soccer coach, will be inducted. And then longtime one of our winningest wrestling coaches in the history of the state of Alabama, Joe DeSaro from Grissom. We're just so proud of all these individuals who will be inducted.
12 more inductees to the Alabama High School Sports Hall of Fame coming in 2020. That'll bump up the number of inductees to 365 total. Just an outstanding class. And Coach, enjoyed your time and looking forward to speaking with you again.
Well, Michael, always great to be with you. We want to thank WOTM for all that you do. We look forward to your broadcast this week. We look forward to being with you for semifinals, Super 7. This is just an awesome time of year and exciting for so many of our communities across the state. We want to thank you for being part of it.
Thank you to Coach Steve Savarese, AHSAA Executive Director, Central Head Coach out of Phoenix City. Jamie Debose joins us now on HSA Weekly. Coach, how are you doing this morning?
Doing great, man. Good to be here.
You advance in round 2 of the 7A playoffs, knocking off Prattville last night 24-6. Coach, can you just talk about how that game went for you?
Well, it was a wet night. We got started off with a very fast start offensively, which we knew we had to. Having played them earlier in the year, we knew they would come in with a little revenge on the heart, and you know that second-time matchup's always very difficult. But offensively, we were able to get 14 on the board in the first quarter, and a rainy first quarter, and you know, not being able to put the ball in the air. We asked our offensive linemen to come out and do a great job. And, you know, our defensive line put tremendous pressure on them and was unable to let them throw the ball, which they were able to have success in the first time, the first meeting against them. So, you know, we got on the board quick. We went in at half, I believe, up 24-6 and, you know, come out in the third quarter to more rain and probably rougher conditions. But we knew it was going to be tough, put it in the air. We stayed on the ground. We were able to go down, got the ball inside the 5, fumbled the ball. It was our only turnover of the night. And then just was able to run the clock out most of the second half, and you know was able to keep them behind the sticks using. They tried to throw the ball to come from behind, and we were able to put a lot of pressure on them and keep the pressure up most of the half and get a couple of turnovers there and come away with a 24-6 game. And it's like I told the kids, it doesn't have to be pretty at this point. You just got to survive and get to the next round.
That's right, Coach. And you advance from the 7A quarterfinals, go into the semifinals. Now the prevailing thought heading into these playoffs was you were looking at a showdown with McGill-Tulane, but Auburn goes to McGill-Tulane and upsets them, setting up this major semifinal showdown between you guys and Auburn. That'll be our WOTM game of the week this week, the semifinals. Coach, you looking forward to this matchup? What do you know about Auburn?
Well, I know that they got a running back, the Diggs kid, that's very good. You know, he's run for over 200 yards since Coach moved him to running back, I guess, week 7 or 8, something like that in the year. And they run the football well. You know, Coach Weingartner's a mastermind of special teams and does an outstanding job of finding ways to attack you offensively. And, our matchup, I think we matched up with them week 10, and we were able to come away with a 34-7 win. But we had, it was a very physical game, and, they play physical style of football. Coach Patrick Plott, their defensive coordinator, is a guy that I really respect, and, they hadn't been scored on in the playoffs now. I think they've won something like 26-0, 33-0, and Coach Plott does a great job of preparing his kids. They're always in the right place, and they always get to the football and play very well, and they're very sound, and they tackle good. And, they're just a well-coached machine that, has bought into what Coach is selling them, and they're playing really, really well. And, it wasn't a surprise on the upset for me. After playing them and watching them at the end of the year, I knew that, this was a team that was getting better each week. And if you look at the history of Auburn, they always play well late, and they're always there late in the playoffs. And we've had matchups in the second round in past seasons, over the last past season. So, we're going to have to come ready to play. I know Coach and his staff will come, and they'll have them ready to go. And like you said, this has turned into somewhat of a rivalry over the last 6 years since I've been there with Auburn, and they're always a force to be reckoned with.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to Central Phoenix and Auburn showing down in the 7A semifinals this upcoming week. That'll be our game of the week. And, Coach, we'll let you go and get to your meeting. It's been nice talking to you.
Great talking to you guys. Appreciate what you do, man.
It's Coach Jamie Debose of Central Phoenix City. We'll be back after this.
WOTM, your new home for high school sports in Alabama. The road to Jordan-Hare goes through WOTM every Friday night with live playoff coverage. Tune in to WOTM this Friday with the Class 7A South semifinal. Auburn traveling to Phoenix City to take on the defending state champion Central Red Devils. The broadcast will also feature live in-game highlights and updates from the 7A North semifinal featuring the Hoover Bucks and the Thompson Warriors. Stay with WOTM December 4th through 6th for exclusive TV coverage of the Super 7 live from Jordan-Hare.
Back on AHSAA Weekly TV, and we're now joined by Pickens County head coach and former Alabama standout, Michael Williams. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Coach, you pull off the win with a close 21-20 victory over Falkville last night in round 2, and you advance to the quarterfinals of the 1A playoffs. Coach, how'd that game come about?
It was just one of those games where you knew going in it was going to be a hostile environment. We had to have everybody in their best game, and our fans traveled really well, so it made our guys feel comfortable. So when the game got tight, they didn't feel the pressure. They just relied on our fans and went down the field with like 5 minutes left and got the game-winning score. And I was very proud of them for doing that. It takes a lot to win on the road in the playoffs, and we went in there and did it. So it's a big morale booster for us.
Coach, you beat Falkville, you advanced to the quarterfinals. Now you're taking on Spring Garden, and your playoff route has been very similar to last season. You took on Falkville, and then you took on Spring Garden, where you beat them 13-0 last year. That was on the road. This time you get them at home. Coach, or you go to Spring Garden. So, Coach, what do you know about Spring Garden this year and that matchup?
Don't know very much just yet. Got in pretty late last night, didn't have time to break down film on Spring Garden. So as I go off last year, very run-heavy team, got a big back who, with this new 40-second play clock, they can control the game. So it's going to be real big for us to get stops on third down, get them off the field, and try to score pretty much every time we got the ball on offense. I know that's the game plan every week, to score every time you get the ball, but it's going to be critical for us to score early and often on offense.
Coach, Class 1A, the only class where all 1 seeds have advanced to the quarterfinals, all 8 1 seeds. So just talk about the strength of 1A, the top seeds, and being one of those number 1 seeds that going through the regular season and getting to this point.
We knew that during the regular season, the game against South Lamar, we had to have it. We knew we wanted to be the 1 seed. We let it slip last year, so we wanted to. It was one of the goals of the year to win the region, and once we got that, we felt like we could, settle down and just play football during the playoffs. And right now, you see that all number 1 seeds have made it to the third round. So this next week of games is going to be really tough, really physical, but exciting at the same time. So I can't wait to take that drive all the way to Spring Garden, almost to the Georgia line, and can't wait. Excited.
And now we're joined with head coach Ruben Nelson of Ramsey High School. Coach, how are you doing this morning?
I'm fine. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. And Coach, you won last night in round 2 of the 5A playoffs. You defeated Valley 41-8. Can you just talk about how that game went?
It was wet, and Valley came out and they gave us a great game, and we were just able to keep our game plan. And our guys, they played well in the water and in the mud, and we came out with a victory. So we're just glad to be moving on to the third round.
It was pretty rough conditions last night across the state. Can you just talk about how you plan and prepare going into a game when you know the weather's going to be such a factor? And does it lean run heavy in those instances?
Well, we thought it would be cold. We didn't know it was going to rain the entire game until probably around late Wednesday, Thursday. We went to seeing that the entire state would be covered with rain. So it does make you change things, and you go into a game with a little different game plan. You want to run the ball and don't put your quarterback in situations where he can't make throws. But so we ran the ball primarily last night. We only threw the ball 7 times, and like I said, we were just able to come out with a win. I appreciate those guys, those coaches, for getting those guys ready to play ball.
Well, you do indeed pull off the victory. You win. You advance to the quarterfinals of the 5A playoffs, where you're now taking on Pleasant Grove. I know you haven't had a lot of time to prepare, but what do you know about your upcoming opponent?
We're in the same region, so we've played once this year. Pleasant Grove, they're a tough team. They're well coached, and we just look forward to be a dogfight on Friday night.
All right, Coach. I know you got meetings to attend, so I'll let you get to them, but that's Ramsey's coach Ruben Nelson here on AHSAA Weekly. We'll be right back after this.
Youth suicide. Don't want to talk about it? You should. Hi, I'm Nick Saban, head football coach at the University of Alabama. 4 out of 5 teens who attempt suicide have given clear warning signs. By knowing the warning signs associated with suicide and knowing how to help, you could save a life. Visit jasonfoundation.com and start learning how you can make a difference.
WOTM, your new home for high school sports in Alabama. The road to Jordan-Hare goes through WOTM every Friday night with live playoff coverage. Tune in to WOTM this Friday with the Class 7A South semifinal. Auburn traveling to Phoenix City to take on the defending state champion Central Red Devils. The broadcast will also feature live in-game highlights and updates from the 7A North semifinal featuring the Hoover Bucks and the Thompson Warriors. Stay with WOTM December 4th through 6th for exclusive TV coverage of the Super 7 live from Jordan-Hare.
Back on the AHSAA Weekly, we take you to the AHSAA offices in Montgomery. And we're pleased to be joined once again on the AHSAA Weekly by Marvin Show. He is the Assistant Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association, in charge of the swimming and diving championships and regionals. And that is the time of year for that. It's not during the summertime or the spring, it's during the fall. Marvin, welcome in. Glad to have you with us back on the show this week.
Thank you, John. Thank you for having me again.
An exciting time. We're talking about regionals this weekend. Then coming up December 6th and 7th, we'll have the state championships. Let's begin with the regionals taking place in 3 locations this weekend. We'll have the South at the Bishop Community College down in Mobile. The Crossplex in Birmingham will be hosting the Central Regional, and the Huntsville Natatorium up in the Rocket City will be hosting the North Regional. So tell us about the format of what happens here with the regionals and who qualifies to go to the state meet coming up in a couple of weeks.
So, John, all of our swimmers this year have been working hard to qualify for the sectional meets. They've tried to attain times during meets during the regular season to qualify for sectionals. At this point right now, we've got about 1,000 total swimmers between the 3 sites. We're excited to host these again. Just thankful to the communities of Huntsville, Birmingham, and Mobile for allowing us to come down there and use those facilities. They're top-notch facilities, some of the best in our state.
And Marvin, we have individual swimmers and teams that are fantastic across the state. Tell us about some of the top swimmers and top teams that we have in Alabama this year.
So, as always in the small classifications, last year Boaz, T.R. Miller are defending boys 1A, 5A champions. We think hopefully they'll be making another run at it. In the 1A, 5A girls, UMS Wright will be defending their title. The 6A, 7A girls has Westminster Christian up in Huntsville that'll defend their title. And in the 6A, 7A boys, Huntsville High will be looking to defend theirs. We've got 2 really great female swimmers up at Westminster Christian in Huntsville. Rebecca Hamilton, who just signed with Auburn a few weeks ago, as well as Ebony McCarty, who just signed with Georgia. So we've got 2 female swimmers going to really 2 top college programs, and excited for them to see them on that next level.
Marvin, you were a collegiate swimmer at Auburn University yourself, coming out of the Randolph School up in Huntsville. So I know swimming and diving has a special place in your heart, and you've seen tremendous growth in the state of Alabama with swimming and diving over the last few years. Tell us about that growth.
Well, fortunately, we've just got, again, great communities that really support the sport of swimming. A lot of those communities really love to see those kids swim fast. One of the things I wanted to do when I became an assistant director here was find a way for our smaller schools to have an opportunity to win a state championship. And so one of the things we were able to do when I first got here was split the classifications, which gave those small schools that opportunity and not having to compete against those big 6A and 7A schools.
As we mentioned earlier, sectionals coming up this weekend in Mobile, in Birmingham, also in Huntsville. But also, we've got the state championships. That location will be at the Martin Aquatic Center on the campus of Auburn University, a facility you know well on the Auburn campus. Tell us about that facility and what happens at the state championship meet coming up in the first weekend in December.
So kids from the sectionals will actually qualify at the sectional meets for the state swim meet. We're very fortunate that our kids get to swim in probably one of the best facilities in the world. The Martin's Aquatic Center this year will actually host the SEC Championships. They've hosted the U.S. Open before and many other major swim meets. So our kids are very fortunate. One of the great things, they walk in, they see all the Olympians that have swam in that pool, that swam at Auburn University, and they just do a great and fabulous job hosting us. I want to just say thank you to Sarah Stallkamp, the meet director, and the aquatics director there at Auburn. She runs a top-notch meet.
Thank you, Marvin Show, Assistant Director in charge of Swimming and Diving Championships for the Alabama High School Athletic Association. And now it's time for our official segment. Assistant Director in charge of officials for the Alabama High School Athletic Association is Ken Washington. Ken on the road last week to the second round 5A playoff game in Jasper. It was the WOTM game of the week, and it was also very special because Ken went inside the dressing room before the game of the Jasper Central of Clay County game to see exactly what goes on there in Jasper. Here's Ken Washington up in Walker County.
I'm going to take you inside the locker room to hear our officials get mentally prepared for tonight's game. Let's go.
We're at round 2, Jasper versus Central Clay. My name is Todd Roth. I'm the referee, Birmingham Football Officials Association.
My name is Ernie Daniel. I'm the ECO, VFO, Birmingham Football Association.
Jeff Moran, line judge, Birmingham Football Association.
William Gant, umpire, Birmingham Football Association.
Andy Bunn, back judge, Shelby Football Association.
Michael Dukes, linesman, Metropolitan Football Association.
My name is Anthony Muhammad. I'm the field judge tonight, Metropolitan Football Association.
Thank you, Jonathan Jenkins. I'm alternate official, Birmingham Football Association.
Philip
Eubanks, I'll be the side judge tonight, Birmingham Football Officials Association.
All right. Let's get started with the pregame. We're going to go out between 6:10 and 6:15. William and I will go meet the coaches. I need all the judges to monitor the restricted area. We want to look the part, be the part, right? So we're going to set the tone, be professional. Clock operators going up, Ernie. Make sure you know that the clocks are working. Let's set it at 30 minutes at 6:30, okay? We'll talk some on the radio. Watch your teams, look for adornments, sort of pick those things up. Note where the teams are dressing. We'll come back in here once one team leaves the field. When William and I talk to coaches, we're going to tell them several things tonight. First thing we're going to talk about is player safety and sportsmanship. We'll also talk about sideline control. So we will tell them that each half, the short wing will introduce themselves, Michael and Jeff, to their coach. They've got a get-back coach to introduce them to y'all. We got a lot going on. We don't need to fool with the sidelines, okay? So if we have sideline issues early, let's address it with a warning early, and let's not be in the third quarter. They have heard us say sideline control is an emphasis, okay? Also, everybody good? Yep. Good deal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken, for that inside look at the officials meeting from up in Jasper last Friday night. More of the AHSAA Weekly in just a moment.
WOTM, your new home for high school sports in Alabama. The road to Jordan-Hare goes through WOTM every Friday night with live playoff coverage. Tune in to WOTM this Friday for the Class 7A South semifinal. Auburn traveling to Phoenix City to take on the defending state champion Central Red Devils. The broadcast will also feature live in-game highlights and updates from the 7A North semifinal featuring the Hoover Bucks and the Thompson Warriors. Stay with WOTM December 4th through 6th for exclusive TV coverage of the Super 7 live from Jordan-Hare.
If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Time for our WOTM Plays of the Week. We have two of those again this week. First, our WOTM Game of the Week was Jasper hosting Central of Clay County. Here's Tommy Wood and Michael Short.
Ogles takes it. He's going to keep it on the right side. Now stops, got a man wide open, flips it down, catches made, touchdown. He throws it late to Caden McCain, almost overshoots him, but McCain's into the end zone, and the Volunteers take a 16-7 lead.
Great play call there.
That time looked like Ogles was going to run it all day long. Gets to the corner, watches, he even tucks it under.
Oh, yeah.
And looks like quarterback keeper, and then just stops and just flips it into the end zone. McCain hauls it in, and a touchdown for the Vols.
Thank you, Tommy and Coach Short. We also have another Play of the Week from WOTM this week. This was from the 3A playoff game between B.B. Comer of Sylacauga and Geraldine. Here's Jimmy Dale Abrams and Anthony Jacks on the call.
8:48 remaining in the first half. Inside handoff. This time is to Hall, and Hall got a ton of running room, and he is going to take it to the house. Wow, just like that. That is Caleb Hall, the freshman for Geraldine, with a long touchdown run.
Well, that's the counter crisscross play.
Wrapping up another edition of the AHSAA Weekly. What a great playoff action. Swimming and diving championships taking place this week as well. Quarterfinal round of the football playoffs taking place, and we've got a huge game for you. Actually, it's a semifinal game. Remember, in Class 7A, this is the semifinal round, so these are the North and South Alabama championship games, and we've got the South Alabama title game. The winner goes to the Super 7 in our WOTM Game of the Week. It is going to be Central of Phoenix City, defending 7A state champions, at home, playing host to Auburn, a rematch of a regular season game that Central won. Here's the rematch with a trip to Auburn's Jordan-Hare Stadium and the Super 7 on the line. We'll have it for you live this Friday night on WOTM and throughout the state of Alabama.